All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about what happens when you are married into your business. Welcome, guys, to the Hero Nation Show, the place where business owners and entrepreneurs like you come to learn tools and tactics to live more epic lives. Today, we're going to be talking about what happens when you are in business with your significant other. Something I've had quite a lot of experience with.
Yes.
So, all right, let's just break this down.
Yes.
Do you think it's a good idea?
To be,
You've done all the coaching stuff.
So to be in business with your spouse?
Yes.
Or like to be in business and have a spouse. I mean, let's be honest, both those are dangerous, right? Whether you're in business with your spouse or whether you're in business and you have a spouse. I mean, the reality is being an entrepreneur is tough. And I love the meme I saw the other day. It said marriage, because your tough day at work wasn't enough. All right.
That's great.
But here's the reality. It's tough. And it just is, whether you're in business with your spouse or you just have a spouse, if you're an entrepreneur, it's going to be tough.
So I agree. And yet I think one of the things that was interesting in this, and this may be unique to me and my wife, because this is the twist, right? Is that I actually think that it really depends on the couple. Like, honestly, it depends on the couple.
Yeah.
So like when Heidi and I started traveling together, we had this like trip come up. None of my other employees were able to come on it. And it was like a month and a half of every day we were filming in a new city across the United States every day. So what that looked like was started filming at about 6 a.m. You got up at 4, you filmed from like 6 a.m. till 2 p.m. You loaded everything up in the car. You drove another 4 to 6 hours to the next city. You unloaded. And
like, I don't care who you are. Like, that's a lot of time with anyone. I don't want to, like, you and I are best friends, and I don't want to spend that much time. Like, I love you. I don't want to spend that much time with you.
It was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And I think I remember thinking, like, I'm not sure I actually like my wife enough to be in the car with her this much. It was like that whole, like, death do till we part. And what I mean by, like, death till we part, is like, I need at least, 10 hours away from you every day, because I need 10 hours to appreciate you.
Well, and here's as entrepreneurs, one of the things I've discovered about entrepreneurs especially is, and see if this is true for you, I believe as entrepreneurs, we crave isolation time. That as entrepreneurs, we need some isolation time where you just want everybody to shut up and you need to go in your little corner for a minute. Right. And most entrepreneurs don't want to acknowledge that. So I think first off, you have to acknowledge like how you roll and what you need. And you have to be like, your partner has to be radically on board with some of that. So I think it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of like self-awareness, understanding your spouse. I think it can be awesome and some people pull it off. I think for a lot of people, it's pretty tough.
The first month in that car was like really hard. There were some shouting matches, which I'm pretty sure like broke several records, and I'm surprised I can still hear. And
you have some breakdowns for some breakthroughs.
Yeah, it's gonna take some of that, and you have to be willing to go through it and not get offended. Yeah,
I think another thing that's really hard for entrepreneurs, especially, is I think if you're going to be in business with your spouse or your partner, you have to be 100% transparent. And like, let's be legit. Like, that is not easy. Like it's hard for people to be transparent with me, with you and I as our coaches, let alone with that spouse. Cause I think there's a lot of embarrassment on maybe money I spent that didn't work, or there's all this different stuff. And I think as entrepreneurs, we can't, and maybe it's more of a dude thing, but I see a lot of guys that want to like compartmentalize their work life and then not really have additional accountability and insight and all of that stuff on the home front, right? Like the workday was kind of rough enough. They want to be able to kind of put that over in a box and then be able to go home.
Well, and so I also think,
I'm not saying it's healthy
no.
or good.
So, but I also think there's like some incredible benefits, right? The benefits are that I think my marriage was never stronger than when I was traveling with my wife, right? When I was traveling, we're going doing stuff. We're We're filming together, we're with each other. It was never strong. It's never been stronger, right? You develop a shorthand, which is sometimes I think, and this is sometimes a danger, right? Sometimes we develop better shorthand with the people that we're spending 10 hours with a day in our short-term businesses than we are with our spouses that we're supposed to be with for the rest of our lifetime.
If you look at time and energy and vulnerability, most people are doing a better job with their work people than they are with their spouse. Right? And that hit me big time a couple years ago. I was going home at the end of the day, and I had this tough conversation with a seller, and I remember I had planned like for hours to get ready to have this conversation with my client. And then I'm driving home, and I know like my wife and I are not doing good at the moment. Like I know I'm about to walk in and we're gonna have an argument, whatever it is, and it hits me side of the head. Like I spent all this time at work preparing for a conversation, and I've spent zero time preparing this conversation with this person that supposedly is gonna be my life for the rest of my life. But where'd I put all my energy into this 3-month relationship with a client?
So like I said, I think that there's some real benefits because it does push everything to the surface.
Yeah. So what's your take though? I think some people it works well, and some people it just doesn't. Do you think is that a legit statement, or is there a lot of BS in there?
Sometimes opposites attract. And sometimes the person, depending on the relationships that you have, you might need the 10-hour time to appreciate the 6-hour time that you actually get with your husband or wife, right before, you go to bed. In other times, it really will kind of glue together. Other times it may just be okay.
Yeah, I think I don't think everybody's meant to work together. I think that's okay. I think one big issue I see a lot is a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of bootstrapping it. So they go to their spouse and they're like, "Hey,
free work,
right? I'm slammed, and you're now my CPA." And their spouse I have a job, or I'm taking care of your 18 kids, which is 6 full-time jobs. I think a lot of times we want to enroll them, and maybe we get pissed off that they don't just jump all in, right?
Yeah, it's totally, it's very true. But the other thing is just, you got to protect the relationship as well. So if you're actually working together on a day-to-day basis, you have to protect the relationship, because here's something that will happen, and it's not healthy. And I'm not gonna lie. Heidi and I still work on this all the time, and it's that sometimes because you're working together, you can't actually turn off when you go home. And if you're working from home, it's even worse. Yes. Right? It's one of the big issues I have with actually working from home, or working on the go like we do. You have to have time where it's this time is protected and it's no work time.
Yes.
I don't I know that because the reality is when you're not working together, it's oh, how was your day? Oh, my day was doing this. You can't really do that anymore, because how was your day? You were right next to me the entire day.
Right.
And so you can end up having an intimate business relationship instead of a really awesome marriage where your business partner is also your husband or wife, and that has to be made clear. I think the other thing is that there has to be really clear, defined roles.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's huge. I think a lot of animosity in the couple relationships when they work together. There's massive animosity, and a lot of times it's just because we haven't clarified who does what, how we have accountability, how we hold each other's stuff. So give me this, John. What are some of the best practices? If you could kind of list out, hey, here's a handful of best practices to make it work, what would those be?
Write stuff down.
Yep.
So write down expectations. Again, because you're husband and wife, we sometimes, again, we do this rightly or wrongly. We do this thing of I expect you to already know this kind of stuff. And that doesn't happen. And also sometimes the way that we act and talk at work is very different than how we act or talk at home. And that's good because there's two different sets of relationships. So I remember, and this is a good story to tie into this, which is Heidi and I were working on a film in California. We were filming this like beautiful church for this Scapolino out of Italy. He was building this church with a hammer and a chisel. It was a private church. Yeah. Up in like Anselmo Vineyards up in like Redding, California, and we're there and we're doing some work, and we for this one shot because like the vineyards had like kind of like died, they wanted to like do green screen on the outside and also, so we basically lit the entire church from the inside, and we had these like big huge dollies and stuff, and we're there at like 11 o'clock at night. It's like getting into the 30s. The owner is like, he's like, we took us an hour to set up. Right. It took us a solid hour to set up with multiple people. And, we're in like on our third shot, and I'm like thinking we're going to be there like till 4 o'clock in the morning. And the owner, doesn't want to just leave us there. And he's just like, look, like you got like 45 minutes and, then we're done. Cause I'm getting cold and I'm getting tired. Well, I start shouting directions at my entire crew because I'm like, you must move faster, like quit lollygagging, quit leaning, like we have to be moving, like this thing has to work like a well-oiled machine. And I remember I yelled at Heidi and I was like, Heidi, get over here, do this. And I'm doing this to everybody else in this room. And I remember Heidi looked over at me and she all of a sudden like got, and she goes, I am your wife. You will not talk to me like this.
Good for her, by the way. I love you.
And I remember my client's eyes just got about like this big, and he's like, holy crap. Like Heidi was just like, I will come up there and get you. And it was part of Heidi's and I's kind of learning process of me learning like, when I get into this, like sometimes your employees don't like talk back to you like that because they're like, dude, he's gonna freaking fire me. Your wife really doesn't care. Your husband probably doesn't care. They're like, yeah, screw it, you ain't treating me like that. But also for like Heidi, it was a learning experience for her where she kind of learned that when I'm in this like super stressed out mode, I'm yelling and trying to get stuff done as quick as possible.
Well, and I think that goes back to that appreciation thing, right? Like you understanding, like, hey, here's what happens when I get tilted. Here's what happens when you get tilted. And then as I know we're talking about love and Valentine's and all that other stuff, yet the reality is I think you've got to have some structures and systems in place. Like you guys have those kind of arguments or whatever it is. And I think you've got to have some systems and processes in place to check in with each other, just like you would with an employee. Yeah. Right? With an employee, you have a weekly sit down, what's working, what's not working. And I think you got to put some of those systems and tools in place. And I think that we don't in our relationships because we take them for granted. Right? And we don't have a weekly meeting set up, or we do set it up, and it's the one thing that always gets pushed around.
Right.
So,
and I think the other thing is that, familiarity, so let me try that again. So familiarity like breeds contempt, and sometimes that happens in these relationships, right? Because like, what's going on. Right? You can't fake it. You can't hide it. And being able to have like super open and honest conversations about that. And then being able to like really just have each other's back. That's like super important. I think that the third thing is don't let the employees see you fight. Like it's bad. It's not good. I am totally guilty of this. I remember we were on Heidi and I were on a shoot one day, and Heidi and I were disagreeing on like how this model should be posed for stuff, and afterwards we talked to the model, and we were asking her like we actually had her on film doing this interview with us, and she'd worked with us like several times, and like the one thing she goes, just appreciate each other, and she's like, don't worry, like you guys are awesome, but don't fight. Yeah. And I remember kind of being like, shit, like I just got called on my own stuff. Like don't like, and I think have a space for that.
And like it's okay to have healthy conflict, but thinking about what kind of conflict would be healthy, just like it would be with an employee, right? Like I think you should, the conflict should be the same as you would have with any employee as you would with your spouse. So it's not pretending everything's okay all the time, which isn't what you're saying at all. But it's having, I think it's pre-planning for some of the rough water, because it will get rough.
Yeah, like be like, I'm really upset. My reaction is going to be blank. I'm going to spit fire back. My response is going to be hold it and wait and then talk about this a little bit later. And I don't want to make it sound like it's all like doom and gloom and like everything else. Like
Awesome.
It can really work so well. I think Heidi.
So here's what I want to know. What I want to know is, what are from you? What are the tools and the strategies that you've implemented? If you have a husband, wife, or whatever it is, partnership, what's working? What have you implemented? What tools are you using to make it work? Yeah,
and Wayne is going to type below what are his 10 best secrets for couples that he's seen, and resources. We'll just do we'll do a mix of resources and
we'll do it.
Tips.
All right, 10, all right, there we go.
All right, guys. As always, Hero Nation is brought to you by Hero Nation Fuel. If you have not joined Hero Nation Fuel, you need to do it, because if you can have conversations like this every single day, imagine how you could accelerate the forward momentum of your business on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. Guys, it's a 30-day back guarantee. You don't have to worry about it. Go ahead, join. Go to theheronation.com. Sign up today, or you can go to the link below. It'll be linked to you if you're watching on YouTube, and you can just go ahead and click it and go right there. Guys, we want to hear your comments. Want to hear about it. We appreciate you. Join us back here every week. We have a whole bunch of these made, and they're ready to rumble. So until next time, my name is John Rinehart. That is right there happens to be Wayne Zalman's. And be your own hero.
Be your own hero.